Hello, welcome back. This is Jeff Byers. This is ANY150, Introduction to 3D Modeling and Game Art. And this is Module 4, Modeling a High Poly Dagger in Battle Axe Part 2. We just got finished modeling the High Poly Dagger. Now we're going to go in here and get the Battle Axe completed too as well. The Battle Axe is going to be a little bit tougher. I'll try to break this up into maybe 3 videos. And quite honestly, this shouldn't take very long, maybe 1 or 2 hours. And so this will be actually a short module. But go ahead and get everything turned in and get it turned in as soon as possible. Then you can just kind of put it out of your mind, and then we'll see you in Module 5. So we're going to be UV mapping in Module 5 and getting everything ready and textured. So Module 5 is going to be a rough one. So make sure you start that right away on Monday next week. Alright, so with that said, let's go ahead and get started. There's only a couple things we can really do with the blade, so we'll start with that one. This is going to be the hardest one to do. So I'm going to go Control 1, kind of isolate it like that. And before we do this, make sure you have duplicates of everything. So let's go back, Control 1, and just select everything. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a delete by type history, right? Okay. And I'm going to do Control D, and then I'm going to create a new layer. And let's just call this duplicate or something like that. And then go ahead and turn the V off. You'll still see this. So that's a duplicate in case things go really wrong and you can't open another one. So let's go ahead and go in here and do a Control 1. We're going to isolate this. And there's not much we can do on the inside here because what happened was we extruded this up to this point and then we extruded up. And when you do that, you change the edge flow of your pieces. So if you look at this, watch what happens when I do this. I click on this edge flow right here. And that's correct. That will go all the way around. Okay? That's good edge flow. Watch what happens when we get up to here where we change directions. I double click on that and that goes all the way across. I double click on that and that goes all the way across. But the thing is, if I go in here and I want to add an edge loop, let me show you what happens. Okay, so if I want to add edge loop here and have it go all the way up, what happens is that it'll get stuck right here, because this would create a triangle right here. Okay, so what's going to happen, it's going to go across for sure, but then it's going to stop here and probably go this way, and that doesn't really help us. So I'm going to go into selection mode and let me give you an example here. Hold the shift key down, right mouse button, and go into insert edge loop. So if it wants to find the closest edge loop, and there it is. The thing is, we need to actually have it go all the way up, and that would cross and create triangles all the way up. Okay, so that would take us a ton of time to try to fix. Okay, and you know, that's not a problem spending the time to do it, but do we really need to do that? No. Control Z back. Let's Control Z back. The really only thing that I see that we really need to follow and fix is the blade. So let's go ahead and get that in there. And there's a couple things we're going to add in here too as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to hit the Q key and we're going to go into object mode. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we are going to create an edge loop on top. So let's go back in here and go to edge loop and let's create an edge loop right on top here. Let's go Control Z back. There we go, on top like that to hold those edges and this edge in here. You can also see an edge loop in here. Okay, keep that in mind. There we go. Okay, so now we've got this part over here and we're going to create an edge loop over here and right here. Okay, and that should go all the way around. If we have good edge loops, then we're good to go. Okay, that looks pretty good. Again, we can't do an edge loop that goes all the way down. I wish we could, because it will get lost down in here. It'll follow something and then it'll abruptly come to an end. And that's not really going to help us. It's not going to work. Okay, because Control Z back. There we go. Right, so what we have to do though is we have to create edge loops that are on the side and come really close to it. So let's go ahead and click on that. And you can see that does make a difference. That goes all the way down. Okay, that works out pretty well. And then this one here, let's do this side. Get pretty close. And then we're gonna get pretty close to the sides here like this and like this. And we're gonna do the same thing on this side as well. Okay. And that should go all the way around. So that looks pretty good. Alright, so the next one is trying to get this edge that goes all the way across. Let's see if that'll work. It almost works, not quite. Edge right here, and then an edge right here. Okay. Now this one, let's go ahead and do that. This one kind of made some kind of a strange edge that went all the way around. Okay, and then went in here again. And that's going to cause some problems as well too. So we have to be very, very careful about that. You can see that edge here abruptly stops, and then we have this one that is kind of a problem. Okay, that goes down in all the way down around. We'll check that out later. Let's go on the other side. And let's click on this one too as well. For that blade right there. I'll do this again. I guess it had a problem with that. There we go. And you need to hit enter, click off. There we go. Looks like it, yeah, it did it that time. And then we forgot, I guess I forgot to, let's try that again here on this one. So I need to go in here, insert edge loop there, and it went to the other side. Okay. So we've got kind of a mess going on here. This doesn't finish, and then we've got this guy that goes up and around, which is fine. That'll work. Let's go to the other side here and look at that. Yeah, that'll work. These are things we can fix. And then I'm going to hit the enter key and then hit the Q key again. And let's do the same thing on this side. Alright, looks like we got that one done on that side and this one on this side. And for some reason, yeah, that one went all the way around and that one up all the way there. Let's do this one on this side here. Insert edge loop right here. And that went up and around on that side, which is really strange. So we got some really strange things going on here. So a lot of times I'm going to hit enter, click off, and click the Q key. Okay. And if something doesn't look right, you can definitely delete it. Except I don't want to delete this right here. I just want to delete everything that when it starts to go haywire. So I'm going to go ahead and control select those all the way down. Because we want to keep this just the way it is. And the reason why it's doing this is that the edge flow isn't perfect. It's not as nice as it could be. and that causes some issues whenever you try to do this type of work. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. That doesn't really help us at all. And then I'm going to get then we need to control. Let me hit the 4 key. Yeah, I'm going to deselect those. So now let's go back in here, and you can see that other edge is still selected, which we don't need anymore. So I am going to go ahead and hold the control and then the delete at the same time. Okay, and then we're going to go up to the point here. That's going to come around like this on top. So we can go right about here, and we can see that top where it should come around. So I'm going to go ahead and select that again, and this time I'm going to go to multi-cut, and I'm going to click on the top here and snap it to that, and then go all the way to the bottom, see if I can snap it to this, and hit enter. So that fixes, whoops, should have fixed it. There we go. And so that's good on that one. And this one I think worked okay. We just need to go around the top of it. And that looked like it went okay over here too. So that's how you can fix stuff. And hit the Q key. Alright. So what do we have so far? Let's take a look and see what happens with these. Okay, so let's hit the 3 key. Here we go. Alright, so we have a little bit of an issue right here. Okay, kind of comes in or comes down a little bit instead of looking nice and sharp like that. This side looks fantastic. Okay, so what do we need to do on this side to fix that? Two different things happening here. I'm going to hit the 1 key again. For one, this doesn't go all the way around, so that's one of the things we have to fix. It's kind of like problem solving this stuff out, and then we need to have it. Let's see if we can do that right now. See what happens with that. Go ahead and go to edge loop, and we'll select that edge loop here, and see it doesn't go all the way around. So let's go ahead and Control Z that back. So we can't really do that. I'm going to have to do it manually. Okay, that's always a dirty word when it comes to doing this type of work. Manually do it. Okay, so now we're going to go in here, go to selection mode, and go to multi-cut. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that with my left mouse button and snap it to that. And I'm going to go over here and click on this. Again, we got to get pretty close. Okay, click on that and go all the way around. Just click on that, and it's going to be really close together, which is okay. Just make sure you pay attention to what you're doing here. I'm going to move slowly over here, and does that match? I'm going to hit enter. Nope, didn't. Let's see what it did over here. It went that far. Okay, let's try it again. At least we can just continue where we're at here. Here we go. So it goes to that side, and so we just need to continue it this way. Alright, so I'm going to click on that, snap it like that, and just go right across here and snap it, hit enter. Here we go. So that is good there. Then that's gonna do well, and then we're gonna go to the top and find out what's going on up there and see if we can fix that. Hopefully you guys will have the same issues. If not, you'll have to kind of experiment, and you might even have to send it to me if you can't get it figured out, because this part is a little tougher to do. And I'm going to go ahead and click on this guy right here and across like this. Okay, I'm going to rotate, and if something doesn't click or doesn't move or doesn't do what you want it to do, move around, rotate with your camera to get to a point where you can see what the heck you're doing. Here we go. And I'm going to hit enter because this is very confusing right here. So I'm going to hit enter. There we go. And there we go. So that looks better. And then we're going to go in here and start. So click on. I usually click on an edge and then move it down, slide it down until it snaps. And then we'll click on this guy right here, and then click anywhere right here, and then snap it. And then you want to hit enter. Here we go. So that looks fantastic, actually. And we got the only thing that I don't like is where does this go, right? Do we take this and we bring it across like this, and then back down again? Do we bring it up to the point? We could do that. So let's go ahead and do that. Bring it to a point or close to it. I think that would work best. Right about here. Okay. And then hit enter. And then click on this guy right here. And then click on anywhere on this line and then snap it up to that point and hit enter. And that should fix that. Let's go to the other part of the blade. I know we have like 4 of these. So let's go ahead and fix all of them. And kind of do it exactly the same way. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and snap that. And I'm going to go up here and click on that. And then I've got to cross this. Otherwise we're going to have a problem. Let's go back Control Z and hit enter. And I'm going to snap this and then snap that, hit enter. And I'm going to snap this and go back down to here. There we go, and hit enter. So that works. Okay, that's good. And then we do the same thing down here. It's just tedious work. It's not hard work, and you really have to pay attention. Otherwise, you're going to have an issue. You're going to run into issues for sure. I'm going to hit enter, and then go from here down, and go across this small little valley here. And then I'm going to select this line, or I can select up here, and that doesn't work. Let's go back. I'm hitting the backspace too. You can do Control Z and backspace or whatever you're comfortable with. I'm going to click on this guy right here. It's easy to, I mean, this tool, multi-cut tool, is a little finicky. So it thinks, you know, you may try to select things behind it, and you have to really watch for that. Otherwise, you'll lose control of this, and it will cause a lot of issues for you later when we're trying to smooth this. Those things just won't look right. Okay. So let's go into here. Do that one. Get right down here. Connect up here. Hit enter. Click on this one, go down like this way, and hit enter because it snapped it. You can see it snapping. And then we're going to go all the way here. Click on that, snap it. And you'll get used to the multi-cut tool. Takes some getting used to at first. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. I think that's about the best we can do right now for what we have. And I think it's going to be fine. Alright, so let's see what we got. Hit the 3 key. Make sure nothing collapses too bad. So I'm going to go to the side view. That's the only way to really tell. I'm going to hit the F key. And what you're looking for is it getting smaller, collapsing. So I'm going to hit the 3 key. Now look at it while I go back and forth. 3, 1, 3, 1. A little bit, but not bad. Okay, when I do the 3 key, and when I click off, do we still see that sharp edge? Yes, we do. Look at that right there. That is super important because that's going to bake in when we do our normal map, that little line that goes all the way across there. That looks really good. We got a nice sharp line here, right there, and we got a nice sharp line underneath. So I'm happy with that. That's our high poly. Okay. The only thing I'm not super happy with is this shape right here. That it destroyed that shape a little bit more than I wanted to. So how do we fix that without destroying everything else? So I'm going to hit the 3 key, see how it just kind of loses its shape. And that's definitely needs something that will help with that. So I know exactly what we can do to really help with that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go in here. I'm going to hold down the Shift key, go into Insert Edge Loop tool, and click on that and make that really sharp. Right up in there. Make that very, and go to the other side too as well. Anytime you have something like this, or like this, where it loses its shape pretty quickly, just go in there and just kind of do a real loose one. We'll do a loose one right here. So you can see that shape right there. Let's do the same thing for this one over here. We'll do a pretty tight one right here, right here. And then the bottom, unfortunately, is going to be really hard to do. And if I click on this right here like that, it will help, and we'll see what it does to help it. Let's go ahead and do both of them right there, and that hopefully will do it. I'm going to go ahead and see what happens with this. Again, we're going to move out, zoom out a little bit. Now just remember what we had before, and when we hit the 3 key now, much nicer, much better. Okay, so that looks 100% better. Really like that. Okay, let's go back. Between 1 and 3, you can see that it holds its shape pretty good. Okay, so that's super important. We got those edges right there that are holding that shape, and then we got the points down here that hold in that shape as well. Let's go ahead and click off, and you can see that looks really nice. Okay, I don't even mind that little bow in there. It's almost like that was machined in there. That looks good. I don't mind that at all. You could go in there again with your relaxing tool or your smoothing tool and smooth that out. If you wanted to really smooth that out, you could. So you could hold down the spacebar, go to Mesh Tools, and go to Sculpting Tools, and go into the Smooth tool and click on that. And you could use that Smooth tool. This is way too big. You can see, hold the B key down in your left mouse button, and you can go in here and you could smooth that if you wanted to. Okay, so I would highly recommend keep that strength down. It comes in at 100, which is outrageous. Bring it down to like 4 or 5, and then start, smoothing that out. You can also relax. Relax is another great tool that helps smooth things out for you. Okay, but I'm really happy with this, how this turned out. I'm going to hit the Q key again, and I'm happy with that. I think that looks great. So the Battle Axe blade itself is complete. I don't see any really super bad issues with it, and I think it's going to do well when we bake the maps, as long as these are occupying the same space, meaning that the low poly is underneath, or excuse me, on top, and the high poly is just beneath it. Okay. Now, if you get a bad bake, you can reverse that. You could reverse the fact that you could have your high poly a little bit bigger than the low poly. It really depends on your model. Another thing is scale. If we're working in centimeters, sometimes when you bake maps, normal maps especially, they want a larger scale. Okay. Keep that in mind as well. If you do a bake, come back and just scale the whole thing up, okay, and make it bigger, and then try to bake again, and it might come out perfect. These are little tips here that help you bake, and I'll try to remember to tell you that when you're in Substance Painter, that these things, these little things that happen, could be scale related. Okay, could be that your high poly is not in the same area. Okay, as they should be on top of each other, right? That's when I say occupying the same space, that they need to be right on top of each other for it to bake properly. Okay, if they're not, the low poly and high poly are separated, it won't bake at all. Okay, and then if the normal map doesn't bake that well, that's because the scale of the image or the scale of the object is too small. So scale it up. Alright, so that one is done. Okay, let's hit the 1 key. So let's move on down. So Control 1. Now we've got the pull. There really is only 2 parts. So this is, I left the hardest for the last. Okay, it's already 25 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and pause this. Please save your work. Okay, and let's go ahead and Battle Axe. Let's call this High Poly, right? All caps. There we go. And this is the Dagger Axe. Actually, let's call this Battle Axe. Right, High Poly. And let's do 0, 1. Okay. Alright, guys, I will see you in part 3. Okay, I'll see you then.